My idea of an ordinary guy is somebody quite sort of tall, dark-haired, with a sort of slightly disconnected view of the world, who worked for the BBC. But I was always kind of interested in science fiction, and I was also interested in the way that comedy and science fiction would fit together. They just seemed to be, to me, to be a natural. And everybody told me at the time, of course, it couldn't be done because, and here's why not, if it could be done, it would have been done already. But I came up at one point with a whole series of different ideas, different single story ideas, each of which ended with the world being destroyed for a different reason. The title, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, came to me before I went up to university and I was hitchhiking around Europe. But I then forgot about it. It just seemed to be a good title for a book and I thought somebody ought to write that one day. It didn't actually occur to me it would be me. I wanted to be a writer and I was doing bits and pieces here and there, a little bit of radio, a little bit of television. Scarcely managing to pay the bills and floundering around trying to find the right way forward. I wasn't someone to whom it came naturally to write to order. I kind of needed the chance to go and explore my own universe. And it was in the end one particular producer who kind of took up my case and decided that maybe I had something.
Rolling.
Listen, you stupid machine, it tastes filthy. Here, take this cup back.
If you have enjoyed the experience of this drink, why not share it with your friends?
Radio is a very, very important medium in England, and we're fantastically lucky because that's where an awful lot of drama and comedy and so on still happens.
Will you try and comprehend what I'm telling you?
And as far as I was concerned, I had the opportunity to do something that wouldn't have been presented any other way. We spent months and months and months making these 6 radio programs.
If you ask the audience to believe you're listening to 2 million robots, then provided you aren't actually listening to just one voice, then they're prepared to go along with you.
I think for the whole year's work that I spent writing the 6 episodes and then making them, I was paid probably about $1,500 for that. And it was actually one of the best times of my life. I was absolutely penniless, sort of sleeping on friends' couches and so on. But it was just extraordinarily exciting. A publisher heard it, said you'd write a book, so I wrote the book, and the book came out. And nobody had any idea whether the book was going to work or not, but I'd been asked to go along and do a signing session at a little science fiction store. So I went along, got in a taxi and went along, couldn't get there, because there seemed to be something happening in the centre of London that was causing sort of crowds and traffic jams. And it turned out it was for the signing session. It was for me. I could not, it was from being a complete nobody to being at the centre of a maelstrom in 24 hours, And then the next day, I got the Sunday paper and the book was #1 on the bestseller list, first week, and stayed there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, I never actually thought of myself as a prescient science fiction writer. I didn't see that as my job, so I never saw myself as Arthur C. Clarke, who was an engineer who actually specifically invented and developed the idea of the communication satellite, and then used fiction, if you like, to evangelize that idea, and did that brilliantly. I was never in that mold, and really my things were purely story-driven. So when I came up with the idea of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was simply a way of solving certain story issues, and also a way of gathering up all those sort of little story ideas that tend to sort of spark off the flywheel when you're inventing. And I needed something to contain all those. And then, having found the need for that, I then, in a very, very quick and simple way, just sort of copied bits of technology around at the time, the pocket calculator, television remote, and all that kind of stuff. Most of it's silly technology. The Babel fish, the translating fish, was simply a reaction to the observation that I grew up with Doctor Who and then I guess a little bit of Star Trek, where every alien race in the entire galaxy always speaks English. This can't be the case, really. And you feel you can't just cheat your way through that. You've got to come up with something. I think there's certainly evidence that life does imitate art, particularly at the moment when we have a generation of scientists and technologists who were brought up on science fiction, and it very much formulated their ideas of what's possible. The ideas we have about what the future is going to be like formulate the way we move forward. So it's very important that we have the most positive view of what the future will be. So you have to look at where you actually want to go, not where you're frightened that you might end up. So if we allow ourselves to be hypnotized by the Blade Runner view of the future, where everything will look like rusty Los Angeles, then that's what we'll get. But on the other hand, if we see the technologies that are coming along at the moment as things that we are actively involved in creating and using and thinking creatively and constructively about in the best possible way, then we're more likely to get something great coming out of it.